I found the crown of France in the gutter and placed it atop my own head.
Welcome to WatchMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the best biographical films ever made.
I could have had class. I could have been a contender. I could have been somebody.
Number 20, Oppenheimer.
I don't know if we can be trusted with such a weapon, but I know the Nazis can't.
Oppenheimer might be the most recent entry on our list, but we know a true masterpiece when we see it. Christopher Nolan's film about the father of the atomic bomb fits the bill. This biopic spans decades of J. Robert Oppenheimer's life, but somehow weaves all that complexity into a compelling narrative. The movie also delves into Oppenheimer's rivalry with Louis Strauss, which grounds the sprawling nature of the story. Playing Oppenheimer and Strauss respectively, Cillian Murphy and Robert Downey Jr. give staggering performances that might be among the best of their careers.
There were rumors of espionage.
Unsubstantiated.
Los
There's no proof there was a spy at Los Alamos.
Number 19, Chaplain.
I felt possessed. I could feel him calling out to me. The tramp.
Charlie Chaplin is one of the most important figures in the history of cinema, so there was always going to be a lot of pressure on the creative team who tried to make a biopic about the man. However, we think the team behind 1992's Chaplin did a pretty amazing job. The film unfolds in a fairly standard way for a biopic, but its production value and performances push it over the edge. The sets look absolutely astounding, and as Chaplin, Robert Downey Jr. gives a jaw-dropping performance. The role is considered one of the breakouts of his career, and he even garnered an Oscar nomination for his efforts.
I know talking will be the end of the tramp, that's for sure. But at least he'll go out saying something I believe in.
Number 18, A Beautiful Mind.
So not only do they rob me of the Fields Medal, now they put me on the cover of Fortune magazine with these hacks, these scholars of trivia.
John, exactly what's the difference between genius and most genius?
Quite a lot.
No matter who we are, mental illness can affect us all. Through the 2001 biopic A Beautiful Mind, the world at large learned about how mathematician John Nash struggled with mental illness. The film is based on a biography of Nash that chronicles his work at Princeton University alongside his experiences with schizophrenia. In addition to providing an open and honest look at mental illness, A Beautiful Mind is also a love story. Playing Nash and his wife Alicia, Russell Crowe and Jennifer Connelly bring real empathy to their romance.
Now, the part that you don't know is if I want to marry you.
Number 17, Coal Miner's Daughter.
There he goes. He's walking away.
She may have started out as a coal miner's daughter, hence the title, but Loretta Lynn became a country music icon. Her rise to stardom was chronicled in this 1980 biopic from director Michael Apted. His film draws out the story of Lynn in a fairly traditional way. But why fix what ain't broken? Lynn's story is incredible, and the movie doesn't need more than stellar performances to do it justice. Sissy Spacek plays Lynn, while Tommy Lee Jones plays Doolittle Lynn, the country legend's husband and manager. The passion, fire, and chemistry between the two actors captures the complex relationship at play.
You're good at managing me. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you.
Getting here's one thing and being here's another.
Number 16, The Pianist.
Look at me, I'm not leaving. Gotta take my chances here.
That's your decision. But when they storm the flat, throw yourself out the window. Don't let them get you alive.
With so much deserved controversy around director Roman Polanski, it can be hard to discuss some of his films. If you can separate the artist from the art, though, The Pianist might be one of his best and most important. The film is based on a memoir written by Władysław Szpilman, a pianist and Holocaust survivor. The film renders a horrifying look at what the Holocaust was like and aptly realizes the terror that Jewish people felt through Szpilman's eyes. Adrian Brody plays Szpilman, delivering a haunting and heartfelt performance. His performance is all in his face, particularly his eyes, which hold depths of pain throughout his terrible ordeal.
No, don't shoot! I'm Polish! Please, I'm Polish! Come out with your hands! Please, I beg of you!
Number 15, The Last Emperor. It's hard to imagine a boy king, but The Last Emperor tells the story of maybe the last boy king the world ever saw.
I'm not a gentleman. I'm not allowed to say what I mean. They're always telling me what to say.
Puyi was the last emperor of China, as the title of Bernardo Bertolucci's film might suggest. He was crowned emperor as a child, but his rule would not last. In his life, Puyi went from exile to political prisoner to man of legend, and Bertolucci's movie tells it all. The drama of Puyi's life is matched by the dramatic style of Bertolucci's direction and the visuals that overtake the screen. But although the story is dramatic, John Lone's performance as Puyi is much quieter, filled with the gravitas necessary for such a role.
The Chinese Republic has broken every promise it ever made to me. Chinese troops desecrated the tombs of my ancestors. And Chinese troops did not defend Manchuria from the Japanese.
Number 14, Milk.
This is Harvey Milk speaking on Friday, November 18th. This is only to be played in the event of my death by assassination.
If there was ever an LGBTQ+ hero who deserved to have a biopic made about them, it was Harvey Milk. Luckily, in 2008, that all came to fruition. Milk tells the story of Harvey, who was the first openly gay man elected to California public office in 1977. Directed by Gus Van Sant, the movie focuses on Milk's life in California and his election leading up to his assassination on November 27, 1978. Sean Penn stars as Milk, and although it might not seem like the type of role he would be likely to take, he is well suited to the challenge. The movie has a smart script, and the themes of homophobia are handled with a lot of care.
This is not just jobs or issues. This is our lives we're fighting for. You okay?
Number 13, Patton.
Look at that gentleman. Compared to war, all other forms of human endeavor shrink to insignificance.
It takes a controversial icon to play a controversial icon. 1970s Patton stars George C. Scott as the famous General George S. Patton, following the general through his service during World War II. As a war movie, Patton does well, but as a character study, it exceeds expectations. Scott completely loses himself in the role of Patton, so much so that it's hard to tell where the character begins and the actor ends.
You're going back to the front, my friend. You may get shot, you may get killed, but you're going up to the fighting. Either that or I'm going to stand you up in front of a firing squad.
He won the Oscar for Best Actor for his efforts, but in a hilarious turn of fate, refused to accept it, saying that he didn't like the concept of acting competitions. Scott was not afraid to speak his mind, which is precisely why he was perfect for this role.
I will be proud to lead you wonderful guys into battle anytime, anywhere.
Number 12, Walk the Line.
Those people keep a-moving, and that's what tortures me.
While Walk the Line really focuses on the life of country outlaw singer Johnny Cash, the movie wouldn't be as special as it is without the presence of June. After all, there is no Johnny without June. James Mangold's musical Biopic stars Joaquin Phoenix and Reese Witherspoon as the famous couple, focusing on the tumultuous early years of their relationship. You'd think it would be hard to take after singers of the caliber of Johnny Cash and June Carter, but the two actors really hold their own. They actually learned to sing and play instruments for the film, lending an authenticity to the movie that you don't always see.
I'm not the one you want, babe. I'm not the one you need.
Number 11, The Elephant Man.
There's something that I've been meaning to ask you for some time now.
What's that?
Can you cure me?
If David Lynch were going to make a biopic, of course this would be the subject he picked. Joseph Merrick, better known as the Elephant Man, was a man in the 1800s in London who became famous for his numerous facial differences. Lynch's film chronicles Merrick's life, but doesn't have the same strange sensibilities of your typical Lynch film. In fact, the Elephant Man is quite restrained compared to the rest of Lynch's work, choosing to play Merrick's life straight. That choice leads to an overwhelming sense of compassion that permeates the film. Empathy is the name of the game in The Elephant Man, and Lynch does it well.
I am not an animal! I am a human being!
Number 10, 12 Years a Slave.
Tell no one who I am. That's the way to survive. Well, I don't want to survive. I want to live.
Before 2013, not many people knew the name Solomon Northup. But after Steve McQueen's massive award-winning hit 12 Years a Slave, we would never forget him. McQueen's film tells the story of Northup, a black man living free in Washington, D.C. in the 1840s, who was later kidnapped and sold into slavery in the South. Northup's 1853 memoir served as the inspiration for the story, and McQueen brings the atrocities that Northup suffered to life on screen with tremendous sensitivity. The film is filled with incredible actors, including Michael Fassbender and Chiwetel Ejiofor. But Lupita Nyong'o runs away with the show, giving an Oscar-winning performance.
I ain't got no comfort in this life. If I can't buy mercy from you, I'll beg it.
Number 9, Goodfellas.
As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a gangster.
If there's one thing that Martin Scorsese is good at, it's telling the life stories of terrible people. He did it in 2013 with The Wolf of Wall Street, but his earlier work in Goodfellas is the superior outing. Goodfellas tells the story of Henry Hill, a mob associate in the 1960s and 70s who rose up the ladder before plummeting to his downfall. Of course, Scorsese showcases his filmmaking talent. When does he not? But the power of the ensemble is what really makes this movie rock. From Ray Liotta to Lorraine Bracco, Robert De Niro to Joe Pesci, to every single bit player who shows up for a few minutes, there's not a single weak link in the bunch.
I'm funny how? I mean funny like I'm a clown, I amuse you, I make you laugh.
Number 8, Ray.
It's a gospel song.
I know what it is, I wrote it. I mean, you told me to find my own voice. Well, B, this is it.
Ray Charles is one of the most important singers in the history of American music. When you're working with that kind of legend status, it's hard to find the right actor to take on the role. But Jamie Foxx had the chops and the drive to do it. 2004's Ray is a sprawling film, covering the entirety of Charles's life from start to finish. Charles's career intersects with the civil rights movement, his own substance use struggles, and so much more. It's a lot to fit into one film, but Fox serves as almost a grounding force for all that chaos. He slots right into the Ray Charles role, with all the talent, charm, and intensity the part deserves.
Baby, when I walk out that door, I walk out alone in the dark. I'm trying to do something that ain't nobody ever done in music and business. But I can't do it if I'm alone everywhere I go.
Number 7, Gandhi.
I praise such courage. I need such courage because in this cause, I too am prepared to die.
How does one go about making an epic, over 3 hours long biographical juggernaut about one of the most important figures in world history? Ask Richard Attenborough. His film covers the majority of Mahatma Gandhi's life, from the moment he decided to devote his life to resistance until the end. In later years, the movie received some criticism for its unwillingness to reckon with the darker parts of Gandhi's life and personality. But from a visual and acting standpoint, Attenborough's film still hits on a purely emotional level. In the titular role, Ben Kingsley handles the transition he needs to make over the course of the film with real skill.
I will fast as a penance for my part in arousing such emotions, and I will not stop until they stop.
Number 6, Lincoln.
I can't accomplish a goddamn thing of any human meaning or worth until we cure ourselves of slavery and end this pestilential war.
Theoretically, you could call Daniel Day-Lewis the king of the biopic. Not only did he deliver a wonderful performance in 1989's My Left Foot, but he also played one of the most important figures in American history in a Steven Spielberg film. And he did it excellently. Day-Lewis plays the titular American president in Lincoln, which focuses on his life at the end of the Civil War. In typical Spielberg fashion, there's a real dignity to Lincoln, and Day-Lewis digs into that earnest quality just as deeply as the film's director. His performance is made up of riveting speeches and quiet contemplative moments, each one more powerful than the next.
Now, with the fate of human dignity in our hands, blood's been spilt to afford us this moment. Now!
Number 5, Amadeus.
Mozart. Why?
Why what, sir?
Why do I have to be humiliated in front of my guests by one of my own servants?
What's better than telling the Mozart story from Mozart's point of view? Telling it from his supposed biggest rival's perspective, of course. Amadeus focuses on the life of Mozart, but with a strong emphasis on a fictionalized competition between him and the composer Antonio Salieri. The film takes a lot of liberties with the actual history of the moment, but its themes and emotions ring so true that it really doesn't matter. Amadeus isn't a straightforward portrait of a famous man, but rather a complex meditation on genius and failure, and what it means to be truly great.
He had simply written down music already finished.
in his head. Page after page of it, as if he were just taking dictation.
Number 4, Raging Bull.
I ain't never gonna get a chance to fight the best there is. And you know something? I'm better than him. I ain't never gonna get a chance.
It's hard to imagine a world where Raging Bull wasn't an instant classic as soon as it was released. But unfortunately, that is the world we live in. Martin Scorsese's relentless biopic about middleweight boxer Jake LaMotta premiered to an okay box office and mixed reviews from critics. But in the years following the film's release, it's come to be considered one of the director's best. Raging Bull is painful and oftentimes exceedingly violent. But it also offers a searing rumination on masculinity and failure. With a towering central performance from Robert De Niro, you just can't get much better.
I was never no good after that night, Charlie. It was like a peak you reach, and then it's downhill.
Number 3, Malcolm X.
So I have to stand here today as what I was when I was born, a black man.
Has there ever been an Oscar travesty equal to Spike Lee missing out on a directing nomination for Malcolm X? The only other contender might be the fact that Denzel Washington didn't win Best Actor, but both are pretty shocking. Lee's 1992 film covers the life of the civil rights icon, but is able to do so without falling into the pitfalls of your typical biopic. Unsurprisingly, Lee keeps his signature visual style throughout the movie and digs into the nuances and complexities of Malcolm X, the man and the icon. However, the movie wouldn't be anything without Washington, who delivers a powerhouse central performance.
Every time you break the seal on that liquor bottle, that's a government seal you're breaking. Oh, I say it again, you've been had. You've been took. You've been hoodwinked.
Number 2, Lawrence of Arabia.
Do we rest here?
There is no rest now short of water, Orans. The other side of that.
And how much of that is there?
I'm not sure.
There may be no adventurer as famous as T.E. Lawrence, and no movie may have solidified his legend quite as strongly as Lawrence of Arabia. The film focuses on Lawrence's life during World War II, particularly his time spent in the Ottoman Empire. Lawrence of Arabia adeptly grapples with weighty themes, such as violence and humanity. Even more than that, it's simply one of the most gorgeous films that has ever been put to the screen. The sweeping, desolate landscape has an eerie sort of beauty to it that perfectly matches the film's dramatics. A stellar cast of characters helps bring the story of Lawrence to life, but the film would be nothing without David Lean's magnificent direction.
Cross my heart and hope to die, it's all perfectly true. It isn't possible. Yes, it is. I did it.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1, Schindler's List.
There will be no summary executions here. There will be no interference of any kind with production.
The film that Steven Spielberg was unsure he wanted to make ended up being one of his best. Schindler's List tells the story of Oskar Schindler, a German man who ended up getting more than 1,000 Jewish refugees to safety during the Holocaust. Spielberg, who is Jewish, took the project after much deliberation, worried that anti-Semitism was becoming popular again. We're so glad he ended up making the decision he did. Schindler's List is a towering work of cinema that is keenly felt and imagined. A crew of amazing actors helped bring the film to life, but Spielberg's vision and Steven Zaillian's script really nail the message home.
Could have gone one more person, and I didn't. I didn't.
If we missed any of your favorite biopics, let us know in the comments below.
I thought it was marvelous. Of course.
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.